All right, here's another part of this thing. So I got the spring on. It's under a lot of tension. It's in the up position right now. You can see how tight the coils are wrapped around, and there's no getting this thing off like I got it off previously. So it's in the up position. So I'm going to put it down right now. I noticed that it struggles going down, which I guess is the purpose of it, because the motor is working against the tension on the spring. So this is going down. Okay, so your regulator sits in the door like that. This is over there, window down. Noticed it was slow. Now I'm going to switch the polarity here, or switch the plug to the other one. There's only two on the motor. Okay, so now we're going to go up with it again. You can notice the difference in the sound in the motor, and it's definitely more pep, and it's not shooting, you know, but it's definitely different than going down. So that's the spring. It's opposite of how I had it before. Now it's under more pressure, less pressure when it's down, more pressure when it's up. So you want to put the spring on, less pressure when it's up, more pressure when it's down. So you put the spring on when the regulator teeth are in the up position. You get the spring on, then when you put the window down, it winds the spring up, giving it restriction, or resistance is the word. So it's harder to pull the window down, but it's easier to push it up. And I think the weight of the glass comes into play on that. So I'm gonna test it right now. I'm gonna throw this thing in the door and see what we got. So I think the spring helps it up. The weight of the glass helps it down. We'll see. All right, here's the last video of this project. I can say that there's an improvement, especially on the 20 volt with the 20 volt drill battery. On the regular 12 volt battery, it's still slow, but it does move on its own. But again, I'm just kind of touching the wires. You know, they're not secure. They're small wires, and so I don't know if this thing is putting out 12 volts. It's probably putting out a little bit less, so it's not really pumping out the juice without an alternator helping it out. So it does work. It did improve. I would say with the DeWalt, it's a night and day difference. I didn't do a video before. I should have done a video before of how slow it was rolling up. But like I say, still going to hold out to see once the car is put together and once it's running on its own, charging on its own. See how it works. I'm not going to put the door panels on until then. But man, it sure is under a lot of tension with all the new weather strip. I'm hoping that fixes itself sooner than later. So back with my DeWalt drill. I just kind of hot wired. I'm going to go ahead and hook it up now. Let me see. So this is a DeWalt 20 volt. Oh, it came out. Let me see here. Try and get this whole thing in here. And that's about it. Like I say, on this DeWalt, man, huge difference. Yesterday, this thing would not even go up on its own power. with the DeWalt, with the 20 volt. It seemed like it was in such a bind. So I guess problem solved. Now, I don't think it's going to move that fast whenever the car's put together and on its own power, with however many volts an alternator charges the battery, 14, I think, but the main thing is got to let all this weather strip break in, especially this window sweep. But so to conclude, on the regulator tension spring, or whatever you want to call it, it can go on two different ways, and both ways are under tension. It's just that one way is under more tension than the other. That's the difference, and that's the difference in its ability to raise the window. So for future reference, if you have to change your motor, don't take the spring out. Just vice grip the regulator together, and then take your motor off, and then put your new motor on. Then take the vice grip off. The teeth on the gear of the motor and the teeth on the regulator itself will mate, and it won't let it switchblade and take your finger off. So my mistake was I took the spring out. I should have put the motor on before I took the spring out. I took the spring out, I put the motor on. I didn't take note of how the spring came out. I put the spring back on under tension, thinking that was the correct way. You actually need to crank that spring about 180 degrees, and then it hooks, and that's when you know you have it the right way. So hopefully this helps anybody out there. It helped me. I mean, I was beating myself up over this for 3 days. I didn't want to buy new relics or a whole new kit. I really didn't want to go back to manual windows, but I was willing to do that just to avoid all this headache. But I'm glad I got it figured out. So hopefully this helps somebody who's building a car with power windows. And I imagine this can go for a wide range of vehicles, not necessarily Impalas. I mean, any vehicle that uses a tension spring on the regulator, pretty sure this would apply to it. So I've taken this glass out and the vent window out, man, probably 8 times. So it's like 5 o'clock right now, and I imagine I'm gonna have that passenger side back in. I got to redo the coil spring, and I'm gonna have that thing in like 30 minutes. I've really narrowed this thing down and know exactly how to put it in. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates.